This story happened in northern Canada during one of the coldest winters on record. A man named Ethan lived alone in a small wooden house near the edge of town. The closest neighbor was nearly half a mile away. On this particular night, a massive snowstorm had hit the area. Roads were blocked, power lines were down, phones barely worked. By midnight, the world outside Ethan's house was completely silent. No cars, no animals, no wind, just snow. Around 2:17 a.m., Ethan woke up suddenly. He wasn't sure why at first, but then he heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Not loud, not aggressive, just slow, intentional. Someone was knocking on his front door. His first thought was that someone needed help, maybe a neighbor, maybe someone stuck in the storm. But something felt wrong. He looked at the clock again, 2:17 a.m. No one should be outside at that hour, not in weather like this. Ethan grabbed a flashlight and walked toward the door. Before opening it, he looked through the small window. That's when his stomach dropped. There were footprints in the snow. They came from the road straight to his front door. But there was something disturbing about them. There were no footprints leading away, as if whoever came here never left. Ethan called out, asking who was there. No response. Then the knocking started again. This time it was slower, heavier. Each knock felt deliberate, like whoever was outside knew he was watching. Ethan backed away from the door and called the police, but there was no signal. Then something happened that still terrifies him to this day. The knocking stopped, and in its place he heard scratching, slow scratching sounds right outside the door, like fingernails dragging across wood. After several minutes of silence, Ethan forced himself to look outside again. No one was there. But in the snow, written in uneven, shaky letters, were the words, "Let me in." The footprints were still visible, but now they were facing toward the house. Ethan never opened that door. When morning came and the storm cleared, police searched the area. They found no footprints on the road, no signs of anyone walking through the snow, just Ethan's house and a message that had already begun to fade.
The second story happened in a remote forest in Vermont. Three college friends, Mark, Jason, and Luke, decided to go winter hiking during their break. They were experienced hikers. They knew the trail, or at least they thought they did. At first, everything was normal. Snow crunching under their boots, cold air filling their lungs, trees standing tall and silent. After about an hour, Mark noticed something strange. The trail markers were gone. They assumed snow had covered them, so they kept walking. That was their first mistake. Soon, the forest began to feel wrong. The trees all looked the same. Their phones lost signal, and the temperature dropped faster than expected. Then they heard it. Footsteps. Crunching snow behind them. At first, they thought it was an animal, but the footsteps matched their pace. When they stopped, the footsteps stopped too. They turned around. Nothing. No animals, no people, just trees. As panic slowly set in, Luke whispered something that made their blood run cold. He said someone just whispered his name right next to his ear. They ran. They didn't care where they were going. After several minutes, they spotted an old, abandoned cabin and ran inside, locking the door behind them. They stayed there all night, listening, hearing footsteps circle the cabin, scratching at the walls, whispering through the cracks. When rescuers finally found them the next morning, the men were half frozen and terrified. But what rescuers found outside the cabin was worse. Hundreds of footprints, all around the cabin,
different sizes, different directions, but none of them matched the three friends. The final story comes from Minnesota. Two brothers, Eric and Thomas, went ice fishing on a frozen lake they had visited many times before. The day was quiet, too quiet. No wind, no birds. As the sun began to set, Eric noticed someone far out on the lake, a man standing completely still, staring at them. At first, they assumed he was another fisherman, but something felt off. The man wasn't fishing, wasn't moving, just watching. They waved, no response. As they packed up to leave, Eric heard ice cracking behind him. He turned around. The man was closer now, much closer, but he hadn't walked. There were no footprints. Every time they looked away and looked back, he was closer. Terrified, they ran to their truck and drove away. The next morning, police searched the lake. There were no signs of anyone else being there. No footprints, no fishing equipment, except for one thing, carved deep into the ice. You left too soon.